Just a minute, just a minute. Yes, let me listen to him, whatever it is. Let's listen. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, the application was made and the paper was duly laid. The referral was made to a committee that brought a closure to that application. Mr. Speaker, the minister now gets to his feet to direct government business and to make a suggestion that the leader of government business should have proceeded in a certain manner. He is one person who has been talking about rules, that we should be guided by our rules. Mr. Speaker, he got up to now attempt to direct affairs without reference to any rules. Mr. Speaker, they are against certain precedents being set. If there's a new precedent that after a paper has been laid, the minister can now come through back door to make an application that the leader of government business should have incorporated certain things in his application, and that was not done, so he is now moving it. Mr. Speaker, let that precedent become part of this house. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is a minister who is on record to have insisted on the rules. Mr. Speaker, he must comply with the very rules that he insists must be complied with.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the rules are very clear that bills presented to this House must be gazetted. When the bill is not gazetted and it is presented to this House, it is clear indication that it is coming as an urgent bill. It is. The rules are clear. The rules are clear. Mr. Speaker, let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders, Mr. Speaker. Let me read the standing orders. Order 159. Presentation of bills and gazette notification. Subject to the Constitution and except as provided for in Order 160 and 162, a bill shall not be introduced in the House unless the bill has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of the introduction of the bill. Then 160 says that the sponsor may submit a bill to Parliament without publication in the Gazette where the sponsor of the bill considers the bill to be of an urgent nature. To the extent that he has not published it in the Gazette, he intends that it comes as a bill which is of an urgent nature. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, our rules provide for any person laying a paper after the paper has been laid to then make a statement explaining. And that was what I was expecting, that after he had laid the bill, then he will now mention that it is of an urgent nature because it has not been gazetted. Then we will now refer it to the committee. Mr. Speaker, the reason why, the fact that it has been referred to a committee doesn't mean that the committee is not supposed to exercise its responsibilities under Order 160. The committee, in considering it, will also have to come provide an explanation why it is urgent. But Mr. Speaker asks a question. Why is it urgent? It is urgent because it is meant to regulate public holidays. And we have a public holiday coming in a few days' time, Mr. Speaker. In a few days' time. In a few days' time, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we need to have this bill taken under a certificate of urgency so that the law can be in place for us to be able to enforce the public holiday which is coming in a few days' time, Mr. Speaker. So I urge you, Mr. Speaker, to refer it to a committee under Order 160 so that it will come up with a report and then we'll take it under a certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, those are my submissions.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the majority leader attempted to conclude that by the bill not being gazetted and before us is deemed to be of agent nature. Mr. Speaker, even if you are presenting a bill under certificate of agency, if you read our standing order 163, Mr. Speaker, it states that where the committee determined that the bill is of agent nature, the committee shall inform the House. Mr. Speaker, this implies that the committee can determine that the bill is not of agent nature. The committee can determine that. Mr. Speaker, I don't know. The minister responsible for communication, Mr. Speaker, my point here is that the committee can determine that the bill is not of agent nature. So for that matter, he cannot conclude for us to attempt reading the minds of the minister responsible for interior. The whole thing has been laid. There was no indication of Mr. Speaker, when the bill was being laid, there was no indication that it was under certificate of agency. And for that matter, the referral has been made, and it is not of any agent nature. So it is not under any certificate of agency because it has not been made to us. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they have not even engaged the minority side with regards to this. So under what basis are you saying that it's a certificate of agency? So, Mr. Speaker, nobody has been engaged from our side. We are just hearing it the first time. There's no engagement, Mr. Speaker, and there was no indication that this should be taken under a certificate of agency. And where's the bill? Mr. Speaker, where's the bill? Majority leader, where's the bill? Minister for Interior, where's the bill? Mr. Speaker, I don't understand because we don't even know the bill. So why do we take something under certificate of agency when we don't have a copy of the bill? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I don't know why there is this disagreement. The standing orders are very clear. They don't need any interpretation apart from what have been stated in very simple and clear language. 1591 says, subject to the Constitution and except as provided for in Orders 160 and 162, a bill shall not be introduced in the House unless the bill has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of the introduction of the bill. Now, 1591 refers to 160 and 162. 161 says, a sponsor may submit a bill to Parliament without publication in the Gazette, where the sponsor of the bill considers the bill to be of an urgent nature. The Speaker, that's 162, the Speaker shall refer a bill to the appropriate committee for determination of the urgency or otherwise after the presentation and first reading. 3 says, where the committee determines that the bill is of an urgent nature, the committee shall inform the House by a report. Honorable members, there is no requirement in our standing orders for the sponsor of a bill in presenting the bill to tell us anything apart from presenting the bill. When we want the person to tell us something, it is provided for in 163. 163. Particularly 1633, which says, after the presentation of a bill, a member may ask the sponsor to offer a short explanatory statement on the bill, and the sponsor shall comply. That is the only time the sponsor of a bill is called upon to say something about the bill that he has presented or she has presented. If not, what is required of the sponsor is to come and present the bill. Now, when you look at the bill, the contents on the face of it will give you an indication as to whether this is a bill of urgent nature or of no urgent nature. The committee that I refer the bill to will now take that contents and make a determination and say that this bill is not urgent and should have been gazetted. So why haven't you gazetted it? And it will mean that it's improperly before the House. Or look at the bill on the face of it and say that we think that this is an urgent bill. And we agree with the sponsor for not gazetting it and report to the House before we now allow them to go and consider the bill. So there must be first a report as to whether the bill is of an urgent nature or is any of the normal bill that we should go through the whole procedure as outlined in both the Constitution and our standing orders. So the Minister for Interior was not required by our standing orders to procedurally inform us that the bill is of urgent nature. It is clear on the face of the bill that the intention of the sponsor is for us to consider it as an urgent bill. But that decision will be decided by the House after the recommendation of the committee that the bill is referred to. So I think that the Minister of Interior has not done anything wrong. The right thing has been done, and I have accordingly referred the bill to the committee. The committee will now report to the House. And we now will await the report of the committee. Please, I think this is what our standing order expects us to do. May we proceed to any other business. Honorable Dominic Nitiwul, former Minister of Defense.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted you to bring clarity to it again. You said it, but it looks like either I didn't get it clearly or many people did not understand it. So, from the standing orders, as you have directed, the committee first has to go and determine whether the bill is of urgent nature or not and come and report to the House. Once the House accepts that it's an urgent matter, then the committee will then go back and look at the substantive bill before they will come back. Is that the case?
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Tamale North.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for your guidance as always. I seek more guidance and I crave your indulgence. Based on the question that the Honourable Member of Parliament for Bimbla, my senior brother, asked, is it the case that the committee can also do the two considerations together and submit one report where they say to consider if it is urgent, and then also consider the substantive bill and submit the report stating that they considered it urgent, and that is why they are making these recommendations to the House. Is that also done? Is it possible? Thank you.
That is not the proper procedure. The decision will have to be taken as to whether the bill is of urgent nature or not before they consider the totality of the bill itself. Because there are different procedures. They could come back to say the bill is not of urgent nature and it has to be sent back to be gazetted and resubmitted. So that is not the procedure. They have to come first with the report to convince us that this bill is of urgent nature. And when we agree or the decision is taken by the House, then they go back to consider the report in its, the bill in its totality. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for your guidance. I think it's the same thing I said. When you read our Standing Order 163, it's clear there. It says that where the committee determines that the bill is of urgent nature, the committee shall inform the House by a report. It's very clear in 160.
Yes, may we move on? Any other business? I've referred, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for your superior guidance and ruling given in respect of this matter in the handling of an urgent bill. And your ruling is exactly what we're going to go by. On page 10, the bill has been already advertised in the order paper as though there's a prejudice that is going to be taken by urgency without recourse to the determination of the committee. And here indicates that notwithstanding the provision of Order 1721 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a bill be passed, has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading thereof shall not be taken until at least one sitting day has elapsed. The motion for the third reading of the Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Amendment Bill 2025 be moved today, even ahead of the committee meeting to make the determination, even ahead of the minister engaging the minority side who stands ready to support the minister, as we have always demonstrated. We cannot oppose such a legislation, but it is not right that the minister does not even engage our side and then goes ahead and then an urgent bill is advertised on the order paper, and as ranking member and myself, we get to hear of it for the first time. However, when engagement is done, we will support the minister to go ahead. So I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that superior ruling. I thank you.
Honorable members, you are bringing informal practice. Those are informal, behind the scenes consultations. They are not captured by our standing orders. And then the order paper, as you all know, is usually a guide to the business that you take in the House. So sometimes they anticipate that you may get to this stage and make provision for it. If not, it means they have to do order paper addendum. And so that one we cannot be held by the provision of this to show that they've already done something that is not allowed by law. So please, let's proceed. Committee members, please, you have to give us a report as to whether the bill is of urgent nature or not. Can we take in other business?
Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
Majority Leader.
we'll take 12 or 14.
Chairman, can we take 12? Can we take 12?
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, we'll take item number 14.
Yes, minority leadership, we are called
Mr.
upon to
Speaker,
take
we don't
item number 14.
We don't have any difficulty on.
Yes, honorable members, item 14, motion, chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Law and Order 2153. I would like to move the motion on behalf of the chairman of the committee.
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, he hasn't said anything. He hasn't assigned any reason why the chairman is not here. And he's not the chairman of the committee. So Mr. Speaker, and I don't know whether he has the authority of the chairman to move it. He did not say anything why the chairman is not here, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I did refer to Order 2153. For the information of the House, let me read. A motion shall be moved by the chairperson or any other member of the committee upon presentation of the report to the House for consideration and adoption or otherwise of the report. So I don't need to explain where the chairman is. I am a vice chair of the committee, and it's my place to move the motion. Thank you very much.
Yes, honorable vice chair, you are right. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, motion captured as
Honorable
Mr. Speaker.
Vice Chairman, I'm Speaker. I'm not Chairman.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Motion numbered as item 14 at today's order paper at page 6 be moved today. Thank you very much.
I heard you say the motion be moved today. And you said thank you so much. You haven't moved it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move motion number 14, respectfully.
Yes, any seconder.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. It's a procedural motion, so I put a question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Please, you may proceed to the substantive motion. That is item 15.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that this House adopt the report of the Finance Committee on the annual report on the correctional utilization of the African Union import levy for the 2024 fiscal year. Whilst I present your committee's report, I call on the other department to capture the entire report as having been read, whilst I read some portions of it and get to the conclusion. Mr. Speaker, referring to your committee's report at page 5, table 2, correctional utilization of levy for 2024 full year. Mr. Speaker, balance brought forward from 2023 stood at 192,548,740 Ghana cedis, 27 pesos. The total collections for 2024 stood at 297,417,875 Ghana cedis. Total inflows for the year amounted to 489,966,615 Ghana cedis, 27 pesos. By the end of 2024, Mr. Speaker, payments of assessed contributions stood at 75 797,078 Ghana cedis. So by the end of 2024, an amount of 116,169,537 Ghana cedis, 27% was transferred into the account. That was the balance outstanding. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee recommends to the House to adopt its report on the annual report on the collection and utilization of the African Union import levy for the 2024 fiscal year. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. Honorable members, there be no consideration. I'll take it that members are convinced, and so I proceed to put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of motion number 15 on the order paper, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. Yes, any more?
Mr. Speaker, we'll take 16, item 16.
Yes. Any contrary view?
Mr. Speaker, we have no objection to it.
Honorable members, motion number 16 on the order paper. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion number item 16 captured at today's order paper at page 7 be moved today. I respectfully move it, Mr. Speaker.
Motion moved. Any seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Thank you.
Motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. I recognize it's a procedural motion, and I'll proceed to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. We may proceed to the substantive motion, numbered 1717.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm taking the motion number 17 at today's order paper at page 7. Whilst I present your committee's report, I call the Hazard Department to capture the entire report as having been read, whilst I tease out some serious points from the report. Mr. Speaker, referring to page 2 of the report, the last paragraph, an official creditor committee, OCC, co-chaired by China, France, was established on 12 May 2023 to determine the parameters for the restructuring of Ghana's official bilateral debt, which amounted to 5.1 billion. The establishment of the OCC paved the way for the approvals of Ghana's engagement under the Extended Credit Facility Program by the IMF Executive Board. Turning to page 6 of the report, the second paragraph, the Deputy Minister for Finance informed the committee that under the common framework, Ghana was eligible to apply for bilateral debt restructuring arrangement to restructure its debt obligations to its bilateral creditors. He said the government had since applied and the OCC had approved indicative terms to enable government to negotiate with the participating countries a debt service obligation of an amount of $2.8 billion from December 2022 and ending December 2026, by which time the IMF program would have come to an end. He informed the committee that the indicated terms will not alter the existing financial conditions of bilateral loan agreement that have already received parliamentary approval and fall due after December 2026. Conclusion, Mr. Speaker. After careful consideration, the committee noted that the debt restructuring was critical in supporting government to restore and sustain macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I rise to second the motion. Mr. Speaker, this motion talks about the Joint Committee report of the Finance Committee, Economy and Development, and the Budget Committee. Mr. Speaker, this motion is requesting the House to approve the indicative terms of bilateral debt restructuring between the government of Ghana and the respective participating creditor countries of the official creditor committee. Mr. Speaker, they number up to 25 countries. Mr. Speaker, this indicative term is to reschedule a payment plan of some of our debt stock to the mentioned countries. The plan is between 31st December 2022 to 31st December 2026, which we should have paid within this time. But Mr. Speaker, we are rescheduling the payment to be paid between 2039 to 2043. Mr. Speaker, this is a deferred payment of some of our debt stock. Mr. Speaker, the motive is that this will bring a financial relief and create fiscal space for our economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. This is for the consideration of the House. Yes, Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the adoption of the Committee of Finance report on the indicative debt restructuring terms between the Republic of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance and participating creditor countries. Mr. Speaker, this report reveals the hole that the President Mahama administration in terms of economic management and governance inherited from the previous administration. A debt restructuring which has limited the power of the government of Ghana even to borrow. And Mr. Speaker, there are three types of debt. Those that we owe bilateral, those that are multilateral, and those that are commercial. Mr. Speaker, because of this debt restructuring, which is part of the ECF, the government of Ghana, under the previous administration again, agreed with the IMF. Ghana is constrained from borrowing or accessing credit in the international capital market. For this year, Ghana can only do $250 million US. Into 2026, $500 million US. And into 2027, when we are out of the IMF, some 1.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, in concluding, and I hope that our colleagues, this is what the Ken Ofori-Atta economists led Ghana to. Mr. Speaker, if you take 2.8 billion and you want to understand what John Dramani Mahama and his Minister of Finance, Kasla Tuforsen, have done, 2.8 billion at an exchange rate of 16 cedis would have given you some 44.8 billion. Today, the same amount at 10.3 or 4 cedis is 28 billion. This is how much prudent, disciplined economic management can do. When we adopt this, so Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister for Finance is doing good. He needs the support of this House, but for developments in Iran and Israel, government You made reference to external factors. Look at your budget of 2022, 2023. You said external rigidities. Honorable Opon Nkrumah, remember, I have recording of your debate here. You made reference to external factors and external rigidities. Remind your leadership. So, Mr. Speaker, I speak in favor of the adoption of the report and to remind that if government takes prudent decisions that stabilizes the city, we can make enormous savings, because how much cities you need to service debts at 2.8 billion yesterday will not be the same amount today, even though the amount is still $2.8 billion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, former Minister of Communications, or the information. Oh, you went to Works and Housing. No. I was at Water Resources, Works and Housing. Is at a subset. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. I rise to speak in support of the motion that this report be adopted by this House, except to point out two things to our colleagues on the government benches. You cannot approbate and reprobate. When the Finance Minister's office, the Honorable Ato Forson, one of the first things he did was to issue a statement that the debt restructuring program was being completed on his watch, and there was a lot of applause from the MPP side and the NDC side that the program that had been started, he was concluding. Yet, whenever it suits our colleagues on the other side, they want to wish all of it away as though it is not a program that they are participating in. Just a few days ago, Fitch Ratings upgraded the Ghanaian economy. And if you listen to the commentary from our colleagues on the other side, they were at length to seek to appropriate credit that the new administration was the reason for which the ratings had been upgraded. I have a copy of the statement from Fitch here. Out of the 10 reasons that were given by Fitch, about 7 of them squarely had to do with the debt restructuring program. So when it suits you in one breath, you want to take credit for the work that has been done to bring the economy to a particular point. When it suits you, then you want to turn around and pretend that nothing good has been done in that area. Mr. Speaker, the second point, the Honorable Minister for Education, my respected senior, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, a few minutes ago was alluding to the fact that we had talked about external factors impacting the Ghanaian economy. Yes, indeed, we did so. But you will recall that a few days ago, the President of the Republic, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, was talking about the fact that the difficulties currently going on between Iran and Israel had the likelihood of affecting the economy that you are running. In fact, you yourself, a few minutes ago, you caught your tongue because you were just on the verge of admitting that external factors have an impact on the Ghanaian economy. And so, Mr. Speaker, yes, Ghana has had to go through a debt restructuring program, part of which this House is today approving. But, Mr. Speaker, it is not all as a consequence of economic management domestically. As is being admitted, it is partly, and in this case mostly, as a result of the external factors that had an impact on the Ghanaian economy. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to caution our colleagues on the other side. When it comes to debt, those days when we were on the government benches, we kept telling them that your debt stock can change when you haven't borrowed as a result of how the exchange rate is performing. And in those days when we say it, they will be mocking and laughing that it's not true. A few days ago, the President of the Republic was saying that debt stock is reduced by about 150 million. Yeah. Why? Have you paid down those debts? It's because the exchange rate has performed a particular way, and the reasons for the performance are well known. And so, Mr. Speaker, we all support the report that is before the House. But I want to encourage my colleagues that this path of always seeking to approbate and reprobate, stop it. And now that you are in charge, take full responsibility for the pluses and the minuses that come together. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
The Honorable Minister of State in charge.
Harshest economic policy ever implemented in the history of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the consequence of that was that a staggering 1.3 million Ghanaians were told overnight that the proceeds of bonds that they had bought in the hope that they were securing, I beg your pardon, their future and existence were not going to be paid for some time. And even if it was going to be paid, it was going to be paid at a rate much lower than what they agreed when they were buying the bonds. And that the tenor that they were given was going to be extended by significant years. Mr. Speaker, many of those who were affected this way were in the Ghanaian middle class. Overnight, they slammed into penury and they were gnashing their teeth. Mr. Speaker, the most important point, however, is that this was self-inflicted. The mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy began no sooner than when the MPP took over power in 2017. Mr. Speaker, by 2019, or if you like 2018, it had become apparent that they were mismanaging the economy. And you could tell so from the budget deficit, which gives an indication of whether there is prudence or there is mismanagement. By 2018, the budget deficits that they inherited had started going up. For 3 consecutive years, between 2018 and 2020, their budget deficit was higher than what they inherited. Mr. Speaker, by 2020, they thought that it was more prudent to borrow and spend money that we didn't have in order to win elections. By 2021, their sins had caught up with them, and we were heading for a crash. By the time they adopted the DDEP, Mr. Speaker, they had absolutely no option, because that was the only way that the IMF would touch us with a long pole. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, and finally, before I sit, Mr. Speaker, it is Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, who they touted as the best economist this side of the Sahara, who told us that the exchange rates is the biggest indicator of economic prudence. This was in the same lecture where he said the exchange rate will expose you if the fundamentals are weak. It is the duty of government to manage the exchange rate. So if you mismanage it and your currency crashes, and by that reason your debt balloons, it is your responsibility. You have incurred debt. The reverse has happened. We have managed the exchange rate well. So because of that, we have saved 150 billion Ghana cedis of our debt through enhanced foreign exchange liquidity. Mr. Speaker, between January and this month, close to $4 billion has accrued to this economy through gold exports. That is because now 80% of all small-scale gold that is mined in Ghana must be ceded to a government agency called the Gold Board, previously called the PMMC. That is what has enhanced forex liquidity on the market, because our exchange rate regime is defined by the same principles that we know to be demand and supply. There is adequate foreign exchange on the market. That is why the cedi is strong. So it was their fault that they incurred the debt. And we have done good by reducing the debt through prudent foreign exchange management. So, Mr. Speaker, we have not approbated, we have not reprobated. We have simply stated the facts when we say that the DDEP was their own doing. Nobody put a gun to their head to mismanage the Ghanaian economy. But what we can assure everybody in Ghana is that we will not tread the same paths that they walked on. We will learn lessons from what they have done. and we will manage this economy such that the gains that have been made will be sustained over the medium to long term. And finally, Mr. Speaker, nobody has said that global factors don't have an effect on an economy. They do. Since time immemorial, we all know that crude oil price increase on the world market affects the price at the pump. But it was not crude oil prices that resulted in the depreciation of the cedi. It was not crude oil prices that resulted in the DDEP. It was not crude oil prices that resulted in the humongous debt that led to the DDEP. Even as there is global crisis now, fuel price at the pump has reduced 8 times since the beginning of this year under this government. These are facts. So, Mr. Speaker, our friends on the other side should be mandate. Let them take responsibility for their mismanagement. I thank you very much.
Yes, honorable members, I put the question. Honorable members, those in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. We'll now move to the resolution. Or Majority Leader, you want us to consider something else?
No, Mr. Speaker, the Minister is not here, so we want to crave your indulgence for the Minister for Interior to take item 18, the resolution.
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader always boasts that he has his ministers. Where is the Finance Minister? And where is the Deputy Finance Minister? This resolution is very important. And Mr. Speaker, we need the Finance Minister or the Deputy Minister responsible for finance. None of them are in the chamber, and they are both members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I don't think we should allow the Minister responsible for Interior to take this resolution. If it is as important as it is, then we should be able to get the Minister responsible for Finance or his deputy to take the resolution in question. So, Mr. Speaker, decline his application to allow the Minister responsible for Interior to do that. He did not even consult anybody. But, Mr. Speaker, I just think that you shouldn't grant his request. Mr. Speaker, the ministers are in the chamber today, just like the minister in charge of government communication. They are here to vote on the judges. That's the reason why they are here. There's no releases, nothing. That is why they are in the chamber today, to vote for the judges. So, Mr. Speaker, the finance minister is not here, his deputy is not here, and for that matter, we should not take that resolution. The resolution cannot be... Mr. Speaker, if monies are not released to ministers to pay contractors, how can that amount to good, prudent management of the economy? How can artificial rate of dollar to the cedi be Mr. Speaker, 6 months? In 2017, they have forgotten about the fact that in 2017, when we took over, we had announced that we had arrested the dollar. We had announced 6 months, exactly that time, we had announced it. But now, even 24-hour economy, there is zero, nothing. 24-hour economy, Amutu, where is your finance minister? Where is your deputy finance minister? Mr. Speaker, rule him out. Don't let the minister take the resolution.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minority Whip, you are now combining your debate on the motion with your objection to the minister taking the resolution. I think he just wanted a bite, and he's got it. Yes, so Minister for Communication.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, as Mr. Speaker, you know we are all your sons, but like every father, there are sons that disappoint you. And listening to the Deputy Minority Leader, Mr. Speaker, Chief Whip, Mr. Speaker, he was asking the whereabouts of the Finance Minister and his deputy. Mr. Speaker, those are two of your most prestigious sons who are cleaning the mess that was created, the financial mess that was created by their side. So, Mr. Speaker, you know, it is important that they know that some of your sons are making you proud. why some of your sons, when they speak, Mr. Speaker, you shake your head in disdain. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, may we move to item 18 on the order paper. I grant the leave for the Minister for Interior to take that item, resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move resolution item number 18 on pages 7 and 8 be moved today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I so move this.
Yes. Honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Motion for us to adopt resolution numbered 18 on the order paper, moved and seconded, is for the consideration of the House. It being just a resolution, I'll put the question. Those in favor of the resolution say aye. Those against the resolution say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The resolution is accordingly adopted. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the report of the Appointments Committee, the 15th report, has been electronically distributed to all members. So I crave your indulgence if we can take item number 12.
I didn't complete my statement when you stood up, so I thought you were going to say something on that. Let me now say that by the adoption of the resolution, this House has approved the indicative debt restructuring terms between the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Minister of Finance, and the participating creditor countries of the Official Creditor Committee, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, China, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, India, Israel, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, Norway, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. Yes. I will now refer to the submission of the Majority Leader that the report has been electronically transmitted to all members, and his request is for us to take it now. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader made an application for leave to enable this House proceed with motion number 12. Mr. Speaker, per the rules of this House, this procedural motion can be moved to address an urgent matter that requires our decision. That is why, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the text of the motion, it says, notwithstanding Order 1041, which requires that motion should not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. Mr. Speaker, you asked some questions. When did the Appointment Committee finish its work? We finished our work Friday afternoon. this morning, around 11:30, the chair of the committee called members into a meeting at his conference room for us to deliberate. Mr. Speaker, we concluded on the report, and although this side of the House is dissatisfied with your earlier ruling, we have yielded, which ruling has made the report, has made it possible for him to lay the report, and same has been laid. Mr. Speaker, what is the urgency requiring this procedural motion to be moved? At the hearing, the nominees indicated that the current bench is made up of 13. If you even take the Chief Justice who has been suspended out, we have 12. Mr. Speaker, what matter has suddenly arisen, thereby giving rise for the majority leader to push that the report that had just been laid, instead of it going through the normal requirement of 2 sitting days, we should move it today? Is it the case that we do not have sufficient number at the Supreme Court to be empaneled to determine any constitutional issue? Mr. Speaker, this House must be careful in certain precedents it may be setting. We believe that this application is being made in bad faith. There is no such urgent need for us to suspend our rules to allow for the moving of this motion for the adoption of the report. Mr. Speaker, I do not want to believe that there may be something that I don't know. Mr. Speaker, only yesterday, our friends argued that there was no need to rush. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the majority leader is on record to have said that even the nomination of 2 justices to the Supreme Court at the time when some were being expected to retire was too early in the day because the people had not retired. So why was Akufo-Addo's government in a rush? Mr. Speaker, today we are in June. The bench is about going on legal vacation. We know that there is sufficient number of judges at the Supreme Court now to make determinations. Mr. Speaker, the majority is pushing its luck rather too far. Mr. Speaker, it is the interest of democracy to allow this motion to go through the normal process. Mr. Speaker, we have 137-page report. Mr. Speaker, it is just being distributed. I do not think that even on the majority side, all of them have received copies. Mr. Speaker, and even if they have received, I'm not sure all of them have read it. Mr. Speaker, you have been part of this House since 1993. This is a dangerous precedent. This is a dangerous precedent, and it is a reason why they are whipping their ministers to come into the chamber when they are supposed to discharge their ministerial functions. Mr. Speaker, government is not treating the releases to ministries as an urgent matter, but is in a hurry to pack the courts. Mr. Speaker, a moment ago, we were looking for the finance minister and his deputy. couldn't find them. Another minister had to move a motion in their stead. Can any government minister tell me now that since we approved the 2025 budget, the releases have been made to their ministry? Can any of them say on record, you have become redundant in your ministries? These matters you are not treating urgent, and then judges that instead of we allowing the report to be read 2 days, today is Tuesday, you have today, you have tomorrow, then you can move it on Thursday. That is within the rules. Why are you in a rush? Why are you in a rush? Mr. Speaker, I would pray you that don't be inclined into granting this request by the majority leader. Mr. Speaker, direct the majority leader to the rules so that we thoroughly read the reports before considering same. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable members, the submission of the minority leader has followed precedent, and this precedent was established in the national interest, so he has just followed that precedent. The motion that is being sought to move is also to follow precedent, which was established in the first parliament, followed in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and we are now in the ninth parliament. And it has all been done in the national interest. So as for presidents in the national interest, we will continue to follow them. That is the ruling I'm giving in this matter. And Order 217, particularly Sub-Rule 11, is very clear. It says the committee shall report to Parliament within 3 days. Within 3 days. After the conclusion of proceedings of the committee when Parliament is sitting. And so the report has been presented to the House within 3 days. That is what our rules say. And I believe that it's proper for us to take it. And so I will grant the permission for the motion to be moved, and then we can move on to the substantive matter. So please, Chair, you may move the motion.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity to move the motion numbered 12 at page 6 of today's order paper, that notwithstanding the provisions of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given, the motion for the adoption of the 15th report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as Justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana may be moved today. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder? Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, motion moved and seconded is a procedural motion, so I put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We now move to the substantive motion, item 13 on the order paper. Chairman of the committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I rise to move the motion number 13 at page 6 of today's order paper, that this Honorable House adopt the 15th report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, in doing so, I present the Appointment Committee's report. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee following your referral on 20th day of May 2025, and after following and complying with the requirement of the law, vetted the law, particularly Standing Order 217 and Article 144, proceeded to vet all the 7 judges. And it is after vetting that the committee's report is being presented for adoption by the House. I first of all urge the entire House to unanimously adopt the committee's report. Mr. Speaker, I also urge on the Hansard Department to capture the entire report as having been read, as I touch on some salient questions that the judges responded to, and then read the conclusion of the report. The Speaker, starting from questions posed to Justice Senyo Jamapwe, he was asked his view on the doctrine of separation of powers, which he answered eloquently. He was also asked the innovations that would improve on justice delivery in Ghana. Another question is about the independence of the judiciary and the suppressing of investigative journalism to protect the dignity of the judiciary. The image of the judiciary was also asked on the rule of constitutional interpretation applied by the nominee. Was also asked the importance of cybersecurity in Ghana's legal education. Another question was reintroduction of the public tribunal system. There was also a question on asset declaration by the judges, deportation of foreign illegal minors, gender parity in the judiciary, extension of retirement age of Supreme Court judges, maintaining judicial ethics, view on spousal property, conflict between foreign and domestic investment laws, modernization of legal education, establishment of Northern Bench, the nexus between the rule of law and economic development, views on justice delay is justice denied, significant judgment of the nominee, reform in legal education, and then the 2015 World Cup, among others, judicial transparency, ECOWAS court issues, issues of democratic theory and constitutional purposes, building trust in the judicial system, judicial ethics, the agency of accountability, among others, were asked. The Speaker, at the end of the day, the recommendation of the committee on him was by a majority decision. As our friends from the minority have voted, all voted against the nominee. The Speaker, the next nominee is Justice Sir Dennis. The Speaker, I must commend him about the scholarly manner in which he lectured the committee. Questions were posed to him about the limited access to legal education in Ghana, diminishing trust in the judiciary, abolition of the death sentence, establishment of separate constitutional courts, human dignity and criminal justice, challenging parliamentary decisions in courts, contribution to children's rights and gender equality, criminalizing child marriage and witchcraft accusations, ensuring gender parity in the judiciary, environmental protection, constitutional amendment, automation of courts, judicial dress code in Ghana's courts, tax obligations, nominees' honorary position, nominees' legal education and qualifications, retirement age for Supreme Court judges, the nominees' view on judicial precedent and legal interpretation, functions of the Judicial Council in appointment of Supreme Court justices under Article 1442. Mr. Speaker, several questions were posed to him, and eloquently he provided the answer. Right Honorable Speaker, third in line is Justice Simon Suribari. Questions were also posed to him on the bribery and corruption in the judiciary, investigative journalism in exposing corruptions, proposal for consideration by the Constitutional Review Commission, extension of the retirement age of the Supreme Court judges, partisanship of the composition of the Supreme Court, public disclosure of assets by judges, balancing cultural norms with international regulations, particularly LGBTQ+, achieving gender equity in the judiciary, efforts to empower the youth to pursue legal education, key principles on compensation of victims, establishment of an independent judicial commission, inadequate number of judges in the northern part of Ghana, the reintroduction of the public tribunal system, capping of the number of justices of the Supreme Court, tagging of the judiciary. The Speaker, among others, were posed to the judge nominee. He has also delivered very eloquently. The Speaker, once the Hansard Department will capture the entire report, let me stop by stating the questions posed to Brad Philip. Let me conclude by mentioning the questions posed to Justice Philip Bright Mensah. The first question posed to him was judicial threats, sufficient power in protecting judicial independence, optimum number of the Supreme Court judges, premium placed on judicial service, gun ownership in Ghana, doctrine of separation of powers, recommending judicial reforms, curbing the menace of galamsey, professional obstacles as a judge, among others. Mr. Speaker, the Hansard Department should capture the rest, and I'll proceed to read the recommendations and the conclusion of the House. The committee recommends to the House by majority decision Mr. Speaker, let me just go straight to the conclusion. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee, acting in accordance with the provisions of Article 1442 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and Standing Order 217 of the House, duly examined the 7 nominees submitted by His Excellency the President for appointment to the Supreme Court of Ghana. Upon careful deliberations, the committee notes that all the nominees demonstrated outstanding competence, deep knowledge of the law, and a firm grasp of the judicial ethics. They addressed questions posed by the committee with professionalism, clarity, and intellectual rigor, reflecting their capacity to uphold the independence, integrity, and dignity of the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court for that matter. The committee is satisfied that the nominees possesses the requisite qualifications, judicial temperament, and commitment to constitutional values expected of justices of the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, all members of the New Patriotic Party minority were opposed to and voted against all the 7 nominees, the justices of the Supreme Court, on the grounds that, 1, the appointment of 7 new justices was inconsistent with the suspension of the Chief Justice, stating that it was not about filling vacancies, but reshaping the constitutional order. As to how this has got to do with the vetting, your guess is as good as mine. Right Honorable Speaker, the second reason was that the Supreme Court abdicated its constitutional duty and remained silent when fundamental principles of natural justice were being violated. Mr. Speaker, the third is that the NDC had previously proposed the nomination of the 2 justices, citing judicial bloats. Hence, Mr. Speaker, the minority decision in opposing and voting against all the 7 nominees, the members of the National Democratic Congress majority, however, voted in favor of all the nominees. The committee therefore recommends to the House by majority decision the adoption of this report and the approval of Justice Senyo Jamepe, Justice Sir Dennis Dominic Adjei, Justice B.L. Simon Suribare, Justice Philip Bright Mensah, Justice Gina Pare Ejua Batescujo, Justice Hafizata Amaliboba, Justice Kweku Tewia Akabofo. The committee respectfully submits this report for the consideration and approval of the House. Right Honorable Speaker, I so submit.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to reluctantly support the motion. Mr. Speaker, and I would want to second the motion and speak on the point that the minority would want to put across. Mr. Speaker, in seconding the motion, I wouldn't want to go far, but to go to the conclusion of the report. And Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would want to read the last but 1 page. The committee, acting in accordance with the provisions of Article 1442 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and Order 217 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, duly examined the 7 nominees submitted by His Excellency the President for appointment to the Supreme Court of Ghana. Upon careful deliberation, the committee knows that all the nominees demonstrated outstanding competence, deep knowledge of the law, and a firm grasp of judicial ethics. They addressed questions posed by the committee with professionalism, clarity, and intellectual rigor, reflecting their capacity to uphold the independence, integrity, and dignity of the highest court of the order. The committee is satisfied that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, judicial temperament, and commitment to constitutional values expected of justices of the Supreme Court. In conclusion, all members of the New Patriotic Party minority were opposed to and voted against the nomination of the justices on the following grounds. Mr. Speaker, the first ground is that the appointment of 7 new justices was inconsistent with the suspension of the Chief Justice, stating that it was not about filling vacancies, but reshaping the constitutional order. Mr. Speaker, in this country, and this is important because we as a house, we must develop the jurisprudence of this country. Never in life, Mr. Speaker, ever since I have witnessed that we have had 14 justices of the Supreme Court. This House, Mr. Speaker, and during President Akufo-Addo's era, there were 14 justices of the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, some of them left and they were replaced. His Excellency President Akufo-Addo left office with 14 justices. Mr. Speaker, at the last minute, there were 2 justices that were supposed to be promoted to the Supreme Court. Our friends on the other side stood up and said that the 2 justices that were being added were changing Ghana and that we were boosting the Supreme Court and that they opposed that. Here we are, Mr. Speaker. As I have said, it is not that the justices are not incompetent. We have no doubt about their confidence. But Mr. Speaker, if 2 is flouting the courts, this is the first time we are having 7 justices at a time. And 7 justices at a time, if you have 13 and we add 7, that will make 20. Mr. Speaker, are we redrafting the jurisprudence of this country or the laws of this country? Even though there are laws, and Mr. Speaker, we have never had a ceiling of the Supreme Court judges. But Mr. Speaker, if at this time we don't have any question about raising the judiciary, the bar, the ceiling to 20 and more, then, Mr. Speaker, it's about time that we redraft this in the Constitution. This is why we oppose to that. That if the other side can oppose to 2 being added to the judiciary, the Supreme Court, then 7 must not be allowed. Or else, even if the current Chief Justice is not part of it, then we would have 19, Mr. Speaker. This is unprecedented. It has never happened in the country of this country. This is our point, and this must not be allowed. I would not be surprised if tomorrow the other side would come with a proposal and flood the courts to a number that we cannot mention. To the extent that they have reached 20, now they can go to the extent of raising up to 30. So on this basis, Mr. Speaker, even though we have recognized what the judiciary, these special judges that have been brought before this House, their performance, and I've had direct contact with some of them. For instance, said Denis Ajay, I was in the same office with him, and I know his competence. For instance, even though Sir Justice Mensah is my junior, I practiced before him when he was a circuit court judge in Kumasi. Justice Turubaru, Mr. Speaker, was the first judge that I ever visited and did my first case before him at a court around Bekwai area court, Huntado court. So we don't doubt their competence. But Mr. Speaker, a precedent is being set, and this is dangerous for the nation. And that is why we oppose to this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the proposal is that the minority has agreed that the leader will take the time yielded by the rest to submit for and on behalf of the minority caucus. On the majority side, my instruction is to allow 2 plus the majority leader. So the proposal is for the 2 from the majority to make their submissions. Then the minority leader can then come in, and then we end it with the majority leader. That is the instructions I've been given. I want to hear from your side whether you are also ceding to the majority leader or you want to take your bite before the majority leader. Then we know what to do. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the arrangement is that the 2 will speak, then...
No. Talk about your side. I've already stated what they told me. The rest have ceded their time to the minority leader.
Yes.
So they are not going to speak again.
Yes.
It's now left with your side.
Yes.
Would you want the 2 still to speak before you, or you want...
No. So the 2 will speak, then he will speak, then I will speak last.
That's what I said.
Yes. So they should go ahead.
So we'll take the 2 from your side.
Yes.
Then he will now come in, then you will end up.
That is so.
Yes, that was what I put across. Yes, so who are the 2? Honorable Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion ably moved by the first Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the Appointments Committee that this House approve the nomination of 7 justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I just listened to my senior at the bar, who espoused and made reference to the Constitution and what the Honorable Anyimedu on what he considers best practice. Mr. Speaker, the question this House, guided by you, is to ask is 1. Is the President of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, legitimately and lawfully and constitutionally respecting the tenets of the Constitution? Yes, he has, and yes, he does. Mr. Speaker, may I refer you with respect to Article 1442. 1442. So President John Dramani Mahama is not doing anything than respecting the Constitution of Ghana, which in Honorable Afenyo's words and by his learning and training, the Guru norm of the Republic is the Constitution of Ghana. It reads, the Chief Justice shall be appointed by the President acting in consultation with the Council of State and with the approval of Parliament. Not my interest. But Mr. Speaker, Article 1442, the other Supreme Court justices shall be appointed by the President acting on the advice of the Judicial Council. Mr. Speaker, President John Dramani Mahama received lawful, legitimate advice from the Judicial Council on the appointments of the 7 justices. In consultation with the Council of State, yes, there's been consultation with the Council of State before the President remitted the appointment letter. And then finally, with the approval of Parliament, this is what we are coming to do, Mr. Speaker. Parliament is coming to approve the nomination. So, Mr. Speaker, I speak in favor of the motion. And again, with respect, Mr. Speaker, I want to address the question raised by the Honorable Anyimedu. I may again, Mr. Speaker, refer you to Article 128. 128. Mr. Speaker, maybe you are now arguing today. 10 years back, it's always been my view that there should be a capping and ceiling of the number of Supreme Court judges. I even made a paper for CDD with Justice Pega then. But, Mr. Speaker, what does the Constitution say today? President Mahama is not operating with an anticipated Constitution in the future. He is operating with the 1992 Republican Constitution, not a future Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, if the argument by the Honorable Anyimedu and many of our colleagues is that seek an amendment to Article 128, that we have heard you, and that we all should resolve, must attract the attention of the Constitutional Review Committee, so that the Constitutional Review Committee, in its work, will consider providing for a capping, so that this question of whether 17, 19, 20, as he argued. But, Mr. Speaker, Article 128 is crystal clear. It reads, and I quote for the record, the Supreme Court shall be due, 1281, the Supreme Court shall consist of the Chief Justice and not less than 9 other justices of the Supreme Court. Not less than 9. Not less than 9, mathematically, you did arithmetic. It means it can be more than 9. And 19 is more than 9. 20 is more than 9. Even 21 is more than 9. Judicial mathematics. Mr. Speaker, that is not to say I'm departing from a generally held view, which is my own view, that we should provide for a cap of a maximum of Supreme Court judges. But, Mr. Speaker, until we review the Constitution, make fundamental changes to Article 128, the President is bound to respect the 1992 Constitution and its provisions. In any case, when you kept appointing justices of the Supreme Court, did you ever respect when the Ghanaian people said that lower, provide for a threshold? Today, because you are sitting opposite, you want to obstruct the right of President Mahama to appoint justices of the Supreme Court. Then, Mr. Speaker, finally, in the whole northern Ghana, Mr. Speaker, if there is a matter pending at the appeals court, they are compelled to travel to Kumasi and sometimes to Accra in search for justice. That should not be the case. That should not be the case. So not just the Supreme Court, even expansion of the Court of Appeal to the Upper West region, to the Upper East region, to the Northern region, must necessarily occupy our attention. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, one of the justices talked about demystifying legal education and expanding legal education. Mr. Speaker, even into next year, we will invite this House to make allocation for the expansion of the School of Law, supported by GET Fund. A request has been received by government through Professor Raymond Atubga of the Faculty of Law. And government is giving it good attention so that into next year we expand it, so that we train more lawyers. Mr. Speaker, with these comments, I beg to support the motion that this House approve the nomination of those justices of the Supreme Court, because the President has only done what is lawful within the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and what is within his mandate as President of the Republic to appoint justices on the advice of the Judicial Council and to go through the process of the Appointments Committee. Mr. Speaker, even finally, we are talking about asset declaration, and you are asking people, I've seen even arguments that members of Parliament, ministers should declare their assets publicly. Yes, if you want to do so, it's the right thing to do, but amend the Constitution. If you don't amend the Constitution as it is, provides for the form and nature of asset declaration. If you do anything outside it, that's not acceptable. But to deepen transparency and to ensure that incomes that are earned by public officers, whether ministers or justices, are commensurate with their income, I share the view that there should be more openness in asset declaration. But as it is now, within the Constitution, we only can go through this audit service report. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion.
Yes, Honorable James Agalga.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the motion to approve of the President's nominations of the 7 justices as justices of the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, the eligibility criteria or the qualification for one to be appointed to the Supreme Court is stated clearly in Article 128 of the 92 Constitution. And the relevant provision, Mr. Speaker, is 128(4), which reads as follows. A person shall not be qualified for appointment as a justice of the Supreme Court unless he is of high moral character and proven integrity and is of not less than 15 years standing as a lawyer. Mr. Speaker, this is the eligibility criteria. And the committee, by a majority decision, found that the justices in question are all eligible. In fact, they are men and women of proven integrity and have met the 15 years minimum requirement at the bar. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I know most of the justices, and I will start with Justice Jamafe. Justice Jamafe has been at the Court of Appeal for 15 solid years. In fact, at the time of his nomination, he is the longest serving Court of Appeal judge. He has distinguished himself both as a judge, serving on the bench, and as one appointed by the President to serve on a commission of inquiry, which investigated the 2014 World Cup and its related issues. Mr. Speaker, said Dennis Ajay, a distinguished academic scholar, lawyer of great repute, a justice of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, is a judge whose nomination for me to serve on the Supreme Court bench was long overdue. Long overdue. Same can be said about Justice Bill Suribari. These are justices, Mr. Speaker, I have appeared before in the course of my practice as a lawyer and can corroborate the findings the committee, the Ahiafo-led committee, has made. Mr. Speaker, the minority in this House opposed the nomination of the justices to the Supreme Court, and the grounds they canvassed for so doing are captured in the statement read by the minority leader, the Honorable Afenyo Makin. And I want to read excerpts of the statement he read before the committee. Quote, "We convene while our Chief Justice sits suspended through procedurally questionable processes under Article 146 and 296. An executive that suspends one Chief Justice while installing 7 new justices is not filling vacancies. It is reshaping the constitutional order. The appearance of institutional capture is inevitable and constitutionally catastrophic." And it goes on and on and on. Mr. Speaker, this particular statement needs to be interrogated.
I do not understand exactly what the minority leader meant when he sought to argue that the suspension of the Chief Justice should be the reason why justices cannot and should not be nominated to the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, he rightly cited Article 46, which article contains the relevant provisions pertaining to the removal of a Chief Justice. And the entire statement he read before the committee, Mr. Speaker, he failed to point out which procedure, which rule of procedure provided for under Article 146 was breached or violated. Article 146 is very clear with respect to the removal of a Chief Justice. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I would refer to the relevant provision. 146(6). It reads as follows. Where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State nor members of Parliament